you are stepping so fully into who you are meant to be. And again, it's not a comparison of who am I and who is she and who is Tamra, and the way that you go, Tamra, is going to be a completely different way than I go and this person goes. And I wish, honest to God, I wish that I understood that when I was in my 20s, because
don't we all?
We thought we understood it, right? We were
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, like we have our own way, but then it's
We have
like
so much power, so much courage, so much. I'm so vulnerable.
I'm
Not
like soups
at all.
vulnerable, and like I know that like my way is going to be different than her way, like totally. But then you just get stuck somehow going in this pattern of like it's almost the react versus respond, which is another thing that I've been focusing on this last few years of my life. Is I would see someone else get ahead in something, even if it wasn't something I wanted to get ahead in, and I would, and this is retracting back to my childhood of like, oh, they're achieving in this way, I'm less than because I'm not achieving in that way. And my immediate reaction is like, my nervous response is, you've got to figure out how to be just like that. You've got to change your profile to be just like that, or you've got to, you've got to book a thing. This, I spent a decade in LA, and I was an actor and singer, all the things. And I was so consumed with doing what I thought I had to do or should do. And it was no longer the things that, growing up, I did the things, I achieved the things that I thought would make my parents proud or people proud of me. It no longer was that. It was, I was going to do the things that I should do to make me proud of me. And now I recognize in my 30s, what's going to make me proud of me is being a good person every day and connecting with the people that are for me. It's another big lesson that I've learned in the last few years, is embracing the people that are for me. I'm just going to leave it there.
I think that, that's such a mic drop component, because there is a lot of society who is still stuck in the childhood achievement driven, comparison driven, competition driven mentality. And I feel like there is an ability for people to almost mask that because of the language that they are getting exposure to, such as even mental health, such as emotional intelligence, such as vulnerability. And so because people speak to it and it's now like coined phraseology, you feel invited into their space quicker. And there's like less ability for discernment and more openness to lack of trust, even though you're doing it in a trusting way. And then it's like true colors come out, right? Like I feel like this concept of embodiment associated to who you are is more of what I would be searching for than the vulnerable, than the emotional and the intelligent, right? Because embodiment is when the lights are off, when the camera's off, when they're not on stage, when they're not doing the role or the thing or the success-driven, accolade-oriented experience. And so I've become much more aware of sitting in the crowd and watching and dissecting what that looks like from a fame and fortune perspective, from a truth-seeking perspective, from an integral perspective. And I've had a lot of ahas. I've had a lot of like, here, let me turn the light on for you in that situation. And it's not always fun when that happens. You've experienced it emotionally as well in relationships. And I want people to feel encouraged to know that even though there's like the wolf in sheep's clothing, or there's the society who hasn't been woke, I guess you could say in that phraseology, that there's like grace and mercy associated to that. And you can be on the other side of being alive and at peace and present and still sharing and shedding empathy and grace towards people, and yet not having them be in the inner circle.
Absolutely. There's two sides of this, right? There's the people who are like, but to be nice, I really should invite them and embrace them and da-da-da. And then there's the people who are like, I'm protecting myself. And it's neither. It's having the grace with yourself and others. And
Mhm.
that's what we don't it's like a seesaw. It's like you've gotta have and that's something I've seen in my personal relationships in the past, and I know you can understand what I'm talking about, is
For sure.
where I lost so what I value is I value integrity, dignity, love, inclusion, joy for myself and all people, connection too.